How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing: always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Chargepoint and as well as for SOFI. Chargepoint was able to post up a green day, and as far as for SOFI is concerned, I'm just going to call it consistency. There was no change whatsoever from the previous trading day. And I know it's been a minute since I did a video. I was feeling under the weather, had some family stuff to take care of, but now that we see what's going on in the market, I'm going to update you guys. I just want to remind you, if you're new to this channel, we do have timestamps down below inside the description as well. So what are we going to be doing? So we're going to be taking a look at the charts, we're going to be taking a look at the short interest, and then of course Chargepoint did have some news that came out, so we're going to be going over that inside of the final thoughts. So let's get into those videos right now. So we're going to take a look at SOFI. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $5.08, so we had no change whatsoever from the previous day. When we take a look at where it tested on the low, it was $5, and then on the high it was $5.33. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 35.234 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 43.938 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, and you can see there was no change in the stock, which we just mentioned. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, I know it's been a minute since we've done a video, but these levels still continue to have significance. If you guys remember what I was saying, there's a chance that SOFI can come down to test this $5.15 range if we continue to see a pullback in the market. And here we are. And I said if we fall through $5.15, we want to see support coming in at $5, and that's exactly what we got today. So as far as a move going into tomorrow, which would be Wednesday, you want to see SOFI being able to get above the high of the day at $5.33. If it is unable to do that and we end up getting a rejection, we end up testing $5 again. And if we end up breaking through $5, we do have the 52-week low, which is at $4.82. So that is the level that I'll be watching very closely if you're interested in this play to see what the stock would do. Now, as far as for the upside is concerned in the short term, if you're looking for a move up, not only does it have to break above 533, I would love to see a move from SOFI going back to 550. I talked about how this 550 level was very key, and as well as 575. So that means on the way back up, we need to get to 550, which is right where we have the 9 EMA, and then we have to make that move to 576. Of course, we could see some resistance here, so I'd be very curious to see what SOFI could do from there. But as long as we see weakness inside of these markets, the pullback will continue. But for many, this could be an opportunity, so make sure you do your homework. Let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for SOFI. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings we have here for the 27th, we have iShares Morningstar that purchased 45,871 shares, and we have BlackRock Funds that purchased 64,149 shares. We see BlackRock again that purchased 48,158 shares, and then we have iShares US Financials ETF that purchased 409,573 shares. We also have TIA Cref Quant Small and Mid Cap that purchased 147,900 shares, and we have Fidelity that purchased 61,100 shares. We see Fidelity again that purchased 228,120 shares. We also have BlackRock Funds again that purchased 131,170 shares, and we have Fidelity as well that purchased just over 1.95 million shares. They've been loading up. We see Fidelity again with 237,163 shares, and another position at 20,866 shares, and iShares Morningstar Small Cap Growth ETF with 161,958 shares. So institutions loading up. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 46.44%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 19.01 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 19 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 0.89%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 23rd, it was at 45.77, and then for the close of the 26th being at 46.44. So it's gone up a little bit, and then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 12.59%, so SOFI does continue to have short squeeze potential. So we're going to take a look at the chart for Chargepoint. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $15.22, being up 4.89%. On the low, it tested $14.87, and then on the high, testing $15.74. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 10.068 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 11.469 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, and we saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, and we're going to leave off from where I did the previous video. So if you remember, we had our cup and handle that came through perfectly, and then I said if we have price action that falls below 1650, that would be bearish for Chargepoint. And yes, we did break below this level, ended up seeing a low at $14.38. No surprise that we're able to find support there, because if we go further back, taking a look at the beginning of September, we've had strength for Chargepoint there, especially taking a look at August as well. So taking that into consideration and knowing it used it as support, you want to watch this level, and we're going to be marking this 1438 area. We're going to get rid of this 1325 for now, but 1438 is very significant here. We could see that it got down to this area, and then we've been able to have higher lows and as well as higher highs for the past 2 trading days. So with that said, seeing a high at 1574, and we have our 50 EMA, which is at 1571, this is very, very important. If we have resistance continuing at this 50 EMA, then of course Chargepoint can pull back further, and we can have another retest to around this 1438 area. And if it did end up breaking through it, then the next level you want to watch, we do have a gap that needs to be filled right here in the low 13. So that's another area to keep an eye on as well. So with that said, if you want a strong move to the upside, you want to see Chargepoint getting above $15.74, and then making the move to $16, gaining some momentum, and see if we can get some price action where we could start seeing Chargepoint staying above 1651, and then seeing what it would do from there. So that's what it looks like by taking a look at my charts. You know the bullish case scenario, you know the bearish case scenario. Let's see what it does going into tomorrow. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Chargepoint. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. When we take a look at the recent filings for the 27th, we have Fidelity Large Cap Growth Index Fund that purchased 94,472 shares, iShares Morningstar that purchased 39,323 shares, and we have Fidelity that purchased 7,337 shares, and we have iShares Morningstar again that purchased 11,120 shares. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 46.10%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 1.622 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 500,000, updated 22 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 2.02%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 23rd, it is at 42.37. And then for the close of the 26th, being as high as 46.10. So that is quite the increase. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 17.09%, Chargepoint does continue to have short squeeze potential. So for my final thoughts for Chargepoint and as well as for SOFI, let's start off with Chargepoint. So the recent news that came out, we have EV charging stations that have been approved by the United States Transportation Department for all 50 states. So we know overall for Chargepoint, they're going to benefit greatly from this. So with that said, the price action that we saw inside of the market, here are the key levels that you need to know, or you know what, the ranges that you want to pay close attention to. On the low, the $14.30 range, we could also include the $14.20 range, and then on the high level, $16.51. And Dre, what do these numbers mean? So we want to see Chargepoint having price action above $16.50. And going into October, and if we have that buying pressure coming in and we see some strength inside of tech, I'm looking for Chargepoint to gain further momentum. As long as it stays below $16.50, it's going to be trading, of course, in that $14 to $15 range. But getting above $16.50 is
is where we see strength. That's where we can see, you know what, an uptrend could return. But as long as it's trading below that level, that $14 area, and if we start seeing some rejections, especially in this volatile environment, we could see Chargepoint wanting to go down to $13 and even further. We can already clearly see that the market is risk off. So this is why I want you guys to pay attention to this, especially since if we do break below 1430, I know many people who are investors are looking to build out positions, add to positions, or even take new positions. But of course, make sure you do your homework and do your due diligence before you do that. And in regards to SOFI, the levels that you want to look out for, you want to see a move to the upside to $5.50 or within that range, and then the next level being at $5.76. If we can break above these levels in regards to resistance, we want to see that move going to $6. It is very doable for SOFI to do this. We did test a low at $5 on the day, so it was good to see that there was some strength there. But if we end up breaking below it, you already know what I'm about to say. Then you want to look out being near the 52-week low at $4.82. And I know many investors who believe in the long-term prospects are going to want to load the boat around this range. So that's why I want to make sure you guys pay attention to these levels very closely. We also did see a high at $5.33. So of course, we want to see move above that level so we can get to those levels that I mentioned to $5.50 and as well as $5.76. This is very crucial. If we end up retesting $5.33 since we close around $5.08 and we end up getting a rejection, we will go back to testing $5, and the likelihood of breaking through it increases exponentially, and that's where we get close to that 52-week low. But again, for investors, that shouldn't be a problem. For my traders out there, at least you have a game plan. We already know that SOFI likes to move alongside with the market. And as soon as we start seeing that buying pressure come back in, we have been dealing with quite a strong sell-off for about like 6 trading days now, then SOFI is going to be one of those plays that is going to be moving up. When am I looking for this to happen? I'm looking for it around mid-October. It could come earlier, but as we get closer to the end of the year, I think SOFI should be able to gain some momentum. So the current prices of where I'm seeing right now, I do see some upside. I don't care about the haters who disagree with me on that, but that's just what I'm seeing in my personal opinion. So with that said, both of these plays do continue to have short squeeze potential. No surprises, they are growth stocks. The market is risk off, and the shorts and as well as the bears, I should be saying, are just taking advantage of what is going on right now. So pay attention to the levels that I talk about when I'm going over the charts. This is very important. And as far as for both of these plays, they still continue to be high conviction with a lot of growth potential in my opinion. But do your homework, do your due diligence before you go ahead and buy in. I will continue to keep you guys updated, and I must say it's exciting to be back on YouTube making videos for you guys again. We'll talk soon.